Uh, Hi, thanks for joining us today. This is the maintenance facilities for older adults. I'm Melanie from LeadingAge California. We are proud to have our host, the Stall Companies. It's our 6th installment of these training series, and today we are fortunate to have Debbie and Jason from the Stall Companies. They'll be talking about roofing. If you're on the website, you'll see we have 5 other options, and if you have any questions, feel free to email us at info@leadingageca.org. Enjoy the training.
Welcome, everyone. The Stall Companies is a consulting firm with a focus on healthcare, and our team works with acute care facilities and long-term care facilities in California. Our vision is to deliver projects with expertise for the health of our communities, and we are passionate about helping our partners in the healthcare community to deliver the care that our communities need to be healthy. Today, we have Jason Thompson, one of our project managers, here to share information on maintaining your roof. These tips will help you get ahead of maintenance concerns before they become problems.
Thank you, Debbie. As Debbie mentioned, we will be discussing your facility's roofing systems. The roofing systems are a key aspect to any building, as they are one of the first lines of defense to protect from weather and other exterior elements. A few items that we will be discussing today are different conditions. Is your roof flat or sloped? Drainage, and why is it important? Maintenance, and how often and what to look for. Repairs, should you repair or replace the roof? Flat roof systems, which would include an EPDM system, a TPO, or others that are similar to this. These systems are common on larger and more flat style roofs. There's definite cost savings or differences from some other styles here. So it's something to keep in mind depending on what your facility's roof system is. A sloped roof system, shingles, comp, tile, or sheet metal is common on slopes. Roofing issues are very detrimental to any facility. Once water gets in, it can cause a multitude of issues. So in the next section here, we will talk about drainage and the importance of drainage and what to look for, identifying issues such as corrosion, dry rot, flood, intrusions, additional loading, mold, or discoloration. Some examples of that are failures like these. Here you can see where some of the comp or asphalt shingles have flaked and peeled back, maybe from wind or heavy rain. Similarly, the flashing along the exterior of this roof has started to fail and erode. Dry rot is another common issue. This is an extreme example. Most of the time it will not present itself like this, and it may be buried up and may not be known until the existing roofing material is being torn back. But it's very important to make sure that you take this into consideration when doing any repairs or replacements to your roofing material. Mold due to leaks. It's often that we see dark spots or discoloration once water gets in. And often it doesn't always present itself on the exterior of the walls or under the roof. It may be buried within the walls, under your attic or crawl spaces. So it is best to prevent any water intrusion that you can to prevent mold or other water damage inside your facilities. Standing water is also detrimental because not only does this mean that your drains or slopes are not working properly, but this is also putting undue load on your roofing structure. This load, it can cause not only leaks or stagnant water to build up, but it could also cause failure to your structure if the weight becomes too great. Standing water is often noticeable shortly after a rainstorm. And you can see here are some examples of where the roof has gotten soft in some spots and there's ponding and pooling. So the best time to check for this would be immediately after rain, or to do some preventative or testing for flooding on the roof. But you can also notice it by just checking for discoloration. This is a good sign that there has been something standing in these spaces previously, and it should be addressed sooner than later. Another way that we can tell if our roof system is failing is by intrusion. Seeing water on the floor is a great sign that it is coming in from most likely the roof or some exterior sources. It may not present itself as leaking straight from your ceiling, but it could be running down walls or pipes inside to get into your floor. Staining is another way that we can tell about water intrusion. The stains may not ever leak themselves, but as the sheetrock or drywall absorbs any moisture, it can present staining, and if too much water is introduced, the whole roof and ceiling could fail. When do issues draw our attention? During storms, leaks, intrusions, discolorations, stains, aroma, musty. These are all ways that we can tell or notice if water is intruding and our roof system is failing. What should our response be? Temporary repairs and solutions, relocation of staff and residents, corrective repairs. Depending on how much it's failing, these could be simple solutions or they could be quite time consuming and costly. So they need to be evaluated in a sometimes quick but thoughtful manner. Here's a flow chart of the progression steps for a repair. First thing to consider, is it under a warranty? Most roofing systems may have a 10, 15, or 30-year warranty on the material. It's key to make sure that you keep your documentation in place so you can know these sorts of things. Is it repairable? Sometimes it's as simple as a little patch or a leak, or has the whole system completely failed and it's gone beyond a repair? Can I repair it? Is it something that could be done quickly and cost effectively in-house? Sometimes a caulk or some sort of patch is all that it takes, or a tarp is a great temporary repair that could be draped over the roof. Do I call for service? Depending on when it is and who you think that you need to call could depend greatly. When was previous maintenance? This is a key reason that for keeping clear logs of maintenance and services that were previously done, to understand if this was an area that was a previous concern or if it's a new item that has failed. Maintenance. Some key tips for maintenance would include bi-monthly blowing or sweeping off debris on the roof, drain covers and clearing them, trimming the surrounding trees. That is one item that often gets overlooked, but can tend to cause some of the greatest damage to the roofs. Spot sealing and patching, walk pads and mechanical pads. Here's an example of just cleaning off the roof. The debris that builds up is another item that can impose rot or just a multitude of issues. It can also introduce, as we mentioned before, the water pooling, additional load that could cause fatigue on your structure. Here we can see examples of debris built up on the roof that has been long overdue for some maintenance. A roof is one of the items that greatly gets overlooked just because it tends to be out of sight, out of mind. But little do we understand that this can cause some greatest issue if it's not properly taken care of. Clogged drains and gutters. This is where the debris not only will sit on the roof, but if the drains aren't properly cleared and maintained, the water still would have nowhere to go. Proper and simple maintenance of these drains and gutters can go a long way. Patching, simple patching of a known potential leak can save a multitude of dollars, time, and headache, and buy you and your facility more time to best understand what is the proper and long-term repair of your roofing system. Proper maintenance. Is your shingles or roofing system failing and cracking due to sun and heat exposure? How are your penetrations that are coming through the roof and duct systems? Any penetration is a new potential item for a failure, and they must be properly caulked and maintained to prevent further leaks. Are your protective mats holding up, or do they need to be replaced? Patches are a great way to determine previous repairs or seams, and they often are an easy way to spot new failures if those patches present any new leaks. The sealing is another cost-effective repair that can be done on your roof. The sealing can be done in all shapes and sizes for your roofing needs. Most of the time, they don't provide as long of a warranty as a full roofing system, but they can buy a few years until you can further plan for a full replacement. Walking pads are an item that are often overlooked. I know myself, I've been on roofs before and tend to ignore the walking pads because they're not in an ideal location for where I need to travel. That's fine, but we need to understand that the walking pads are there for the areas of the heaviest foot traffic to prevent and protect the roofing system from eroding any faster or further than it should. Mechanical pads. Not only are these protecting your facility from weather and elements, but also they have a structural component, most of the time supporting thousands of pounds of loads on top of your facilities. So if these fail, they can present a greater issue than just weather. Here are some ideas for continuing maintenance. Have a plan. This could be something that a roofing contractor or engineer provides to you, or that you come up with on your own in-house. But either way, whatever your plan is, stick to it. And also don't be afraid to add or modify this plan depending on new issues that may arise. Again, keep detailed records of any services that are performed. These can become key, not only with warranty or understanding what work has previously been done, but just for understanding the costs and the expenses of maybe keeping a failing roof system as opposed to replacing it. Next, we will discuss some tips for improvement projects and how to handle those with your roofing system. Let's discuss what your plan should be. Your plan as the owner and for your facility, what is the narrative and scope you are considering? Make sure that you have at least a good sense of what you want to do. And if not, a third-party consultant or an architect should be able to help provide some clarity for you. Elements of your project could include extent of issues, all of the parts of the roof or some, roofing, what roofing system to be used, tree trimming to be done at that time. Other issues to be considered is the age of the roof. Was there poor maintenance, a poor design, or installation? What is the drainage and water flow on the roof? Code compliant mechanical pads and pipe supports. Understanding these before going into a roof replacement can save a lot of time and headache. If these aren't properly considered, you can have immense scope creep or additional costs, and there's no worse time to find out about the unknowns and the additional costs than when your roof is already torn off and now you have to repair all these issues plus your roof to make sure that your facility is watertight. It's also key to understand your budget. The soft cost is one item that is most commonly overlooked. We a lot of times will go out, get bids from a roofing contractor, and then say that is our project cost. When in reality, most of the time this will require a design, bringing on an architect or other engineers, permitting, whatever jurisdiction or city, those will need to be taken into consideration. Will there be inspections required? Depends on what the extent of the scope is, but these are all things that should be investigated and understood prior to starting your project. Another item with the budget is hard costs. Understanding contractors. It's not always as simple as just having a roofing contractor. You may need someone that understands mechanical or plumbing, especially for moving any HVAC, ducting, gas lines, water lines. The material. What roofing system do you want to use? And sometimes it's a difference of a few $1,000s or tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you want to make sure that you do your research. And then also establishing what your maintenance plan is with that roof. As I mentioned, some of these roofs have a 30-year warranty, but there are key things that need to be done to make sure that you maintain that manufacturer warranty. If you miss a step or it's too costly to maintain, you could void your warranty and any cost savings with that product. Also, what's your schedule? This is a common thing that often gets overlooked. We want to start the roofing project usually after a wet winter or spring. So by the time that the design comes along and completed by the end of summer, but then you're starting construction in fall and almost going into winter again. And there's nothing worse than having a roof torn off when the rainy season is coming. So these are all things that you want to make sure that you understand before going into it. Another key issue is supply chain. You could have an immediate need with starting this roof as soon as possible, but if the material or labor shortages affect this, that could delay your project even longer. So you may need to look at temporary solutions. Here are some contract requirements before starting your project. When you're working with a contractor, architect, or any other consultant, make sure you have a contract with them. This not only protects you, but it also protects them. Make sure you have it reviewed by your in-house legal team if you can. Make sure that there's nothing missing as far as scope or services to be provided. Also understand the size of the contractor. Sometimes a small shop can do just as good work as a large shop, but if they don't have the crew to perform on the timing that you are expecting, this just needs to be understood up front. Are they legitimate? This is a real thing. If you want to make sure that you check their licenses, are they approved to do this type of project? And do they have the experience? Also call around for references. A good contractor won't be afraid to offer up references for you to validate their work previously. All of these things can save you time, money, and a bunch of headache in the long run if you simply follow them. Thank you for being part of this presentation and training with us today.
Thank you so much, Jason. Another great piece of content from Stall Companies. We appreciate it. And do you also want to provide your email address for anybody who might have any questions after the presentation?
Yes, you can reach out to me at jthompson@thestallcompanies.com.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. If you're watching today, be sure to visit the website. We've got a lot of really great content for you and some great resources. Have a great afternoon.